Welcome once again to Rediscovering Your Passion and Purpose with Patti. I am your host, Patti Stuhlin, and I am the Chief Pathfinder of Pathways with Patti. Again, this week we have another amazing guest to tell their story of how they met challenges and obstacles head on, and not that it was always easy, but how they overcame those. And now not only are making their own world a better place, but a better place for others. Today's guest is Heather Mahoney. She is a certified life coach and certified passion test facilitator. She created Designing Your Life's Roadmap, 8 pathways to guide your exit from the pretender highway for those seeking to find the route to their best life. She lives in Hollywood, Florida. Well, I'm going to say good morning because I'm not going to try to, for you it's afternoon, for me it's morning. How are you, Heather?
I am amazing today. Great
Yes.
day. The weather is great here in South Florida. So I'm happy.
Excellent. Well, it is a pleasure to have you as my guest. Why don't you go ahead and start and tell our audience your story and the things where you've been and where you currently are, what you're doing.
Okay, so I always say my story started on a Wednesday night around 10 o'clock. And I don't remember the year because my short-term memory doesn't allow me to remember, but I remember the day. And my now ex-husband came in and said, "Can we talk?" And I was like, okay.
Oh.
And he says, "Want to let you know that I filed for divorce and you'll be served next week."
Okay, and you had no idea.
I had no idea that was coming.
Holy cow. Wow. No wonder you remember it's a Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh.
So that was the beginning of my emancipation.
Okay.
But it didn't feel like an emancipation at that time because I was petrified, and it was like, what was I going to do? And certain things seem important, and it didn't. Those were the two questions that came up into my head. And the reason why they came into my head was that I wasn't working at the time. I was at a career stop. Reason being was that I had a really super difficult delivery of my son. I don't know if everybody know what eclampsia is, but it's when you become allergic to the fetus of the baby. So I had eclampsia along with HELP, which meant I was losing protein and I had seizures when I delivered my son.
Oh my gosh.
So on the delivery, I went to the ICU and my son went to the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. And a week later, I found out I had a baby because I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
That I had him. And I couldn't even hold him because I was so weak, so sick. And to walk 10 feet when I eventually got released from the hospital to my bathroom, it would take me like an hour. Because I just didn't have enough oxygen in my system to carry me forward or to move. And one night, best diet ever, don't recommend it, I lost 11 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, don't recommend that. No, not healthy.
And going to the bathroom, I would leave the bathroom and I'd end up in the bathroom 2 minutes later and I'd literally pee another gallon.
Wow.
So that manifested into postpartum depression that I thought my doctor was ridiculous to tell me I had postpartum depression because I didn't know I had postpartum depression. And what would he know, right?
Right, exactly. He's a guy. What should he know?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I wasn't crying in my soup or anything. So So I became destructive, not to my child, but more to me internally and my career.
Mm,
So when he said that, okay, here's the divorce, I wasn't working, didn't really have any opportunities on the horizon. So what was I going to do?
mm-hmm,
That was
right.
my question.
And it's a big question.
It is a big question, because I was dealing with that. My mom was sick at the time, and during the process, she passed away.
Oh,
So you have one, divorce, two, not a stable career, three, health issues, and now the death of my mom.
wow.
So those were the four pieces in my pie
Mm-hmm,
that I needed to deal with. And the answer in terms of financial was that I was going to throw spaghetti against the wall, and whatever was going to stick was going to stick.
hmm,
And I didn't necessarily have my priorities straight, except for the mortgage and his tuition. He was in private school. That's why I keep saying tuition.
mm-hmm,
And I didn't want to pull him out of private school because that's the only school he ever knew.
right,
And to take him out during this challenging period, not in his life, but my life, wasn't fair to him.
right.
So he was going to stay there. That was decision one. Two, I was going to stay in the house. So what I did to get immediate support, because I didn't want to do what I was doing, which was human resources, HR. I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
So what I chose to do was to start a residential cleaning service.
Mm,
And I did that because one, it gave me immediate cash and I didn't need a lot of startup capital.
mm-hmm,
Two, it gave me the opportunity that if my son wanted to participate in an after school activity, I wanted to participate in the PTO, almost the same as a PTA.
mm-hmm.
I had that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you had the
And
flexibility with that schedule.
absolutely. So that's what I did. And that's how I did it. That's how
Mm,
I started back to rebuilding myself and my financial thing. And I laugh because during the process of it, before things got better, I live in a section of my community where there is no sewer system. So we
oh,
have septic tanks.
oh, okay. Yes.
And it's like,
Very aware of a septic tank. Had that myself.
okay. So the septic tank overflowed once.
Oh,
And you know what happens when it overflows, right?
oh, please.
Oh.
Ugh.
And I laughed about it then, and I laugh about it today because I said to my sister, I didn't even have enough resources to clean the crap out of it.
Oh, oh my gosh.
So, but I got it covered. Not the best way, but I got it covered. I got somebody to come and clean out the septic tank. I put in a new drain field and things like that. And then I was in litigation with the insurance company for quite a while,
Ugh.
about 4 years on that issue.
When it rains, it pours.
And boy,
Mm,
but at the end of that period, it really was a saving grace because after I got settled with the insurance company, I took that resources and kind of cleaned up, stabilized myself.
mm,
And it allowed me to now really focus on bringing resources into the home. So I got stabilized there. And then I started to work on rebuilding me because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what made me happy. I didn't know what my passion was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I just didn't know me. I just know in my head I was crazy. I was insane. I was sad. I was not happy. I was just,
mm-hmm.
and my son had a hangout on a Sunday. I remember days, I don't remember years. My son had a hangout on a Sunday afternoon, and I had a notebook with me. And I was there and I just started writing in the notebook. And the first thing I wrote in that notebook was peace.
Oh.
And it said I needed to find my peace.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally, spiritually, physically, I needed to find peace in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I wrote was passion. I needed to find my passion. Then I needed to find my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Then I needed to find my path.
Mm-hmm.
And, after a couple of days, I looked at the notebook and I noticed that everything started with a P. There's something in that.
Yes, there is. I know from experience myself. Pathways with Patti.
So I started writing and I started finding all these words with P, performance, your paradigm, your petals, all, your physiology, your psychology, all of these P words. And I started writing. I ended up with 92 P words.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
92 of them. I turned it into a book.
Good for you.
That's the book you said. That's the book. It was The Pretender.
Wow.
And I figured out in that process, my pattern was that I was pretending to the world. If I met you, Patti, and you says how amazing, fantastic, and I was lying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was,
Fake it till you make it.
And I was faking it, but I wasn't making it.
Yeah, that's usually the problem, huh? Yeah, you can fake it really well, but making it, that's a whole nother
That's a total
thing.
different story. And when I started the book, it took me 7 years to get through and evolve through the book, because what I found out was there's certain things that I needed to go through and to understand before I could actually write it down. And when I finished the book, my life had completely turned around.
Wow. Now, how long did it take you approximately to do from the moment you put peace on that page? How long from there was it to get the book done?
7 years.
7 years. That's tenacity and resilience right there, baby.
7 years. And I didn't work on it consistently for 7 years.
Right.
But it was 7 years from start to finish. And I am so much better because of it. I learned so much about me. I learned so much about the world. I learned so much about, I have this phrase that I use, I own my pimples.
I've not ever heard that one before. That's a new one.
I own my pimples, good, bad, or indifferent. They're my pimples, and they made me who I am. And the lessons that I've learned from those things are amazing because of those pimples.
Wow.
And so I'm proud of them.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
And, after my mom had died, my mom and I had this relationship was like this. And it took a while after she passed for me to understand and appreciate what my mother did for us. There's 4 of us, 3 girls and a boy. I'm the youngest of 4. And it took a while for me to get there, understand, and say thank you to her for what she did in being a single parent, raising 4 kids.
Right.
And thank you for the jobs that I didn't like, that I wanted to jump out of the windows because I was so unhappy. Thank you to the ex-husband for being mean. And it wasn't that the fact that he wanted the divorce, it's just how he did it. And that was hurtful for me. But today I say thank you, because I would not have let go of my Linus blanket
Oh, yeah.
to evolve, to become who I am. So I thank him today for letting, allowing me to let go of the security and face the challenges and the fear of growing into
Hmm.
who I am.
That, I mean, number one, that's pretty mature. Number two, that is inspirational because as I know I've talked with some of my other guests, uh, when we hold on to that hatred or that dislike or distrust, it's taking up valuable real estate. And why are we giving someone that much power?
Right, right. And that's a P word, power.
Yes, it is. That's right. Yes, it is.
But, I learned another P word, which was pride.
Hmm.
And that one was funny. I didn't have much cash, but I had to register my car. And I went to the tax agency to register the car. And they only, well, they took cash, check, and card. And I was like, in my head, okay, if I used the debit card, they were still going to charge me a fee. So let me use cash. All right. So I didn't have enough cash in my purse to do it. So I said, okay, let me go to the bank and get some cash. And on the way to the bank, I saw a grocery store. It's called Publix here, P word.
Hmm. Yes.
So I stopped at Publix to get the cash and I bought some gum. And on the way out of the store, I unwrapped the gum and I threw away the receipt and the wrapper. Also, what I threw away that I didn't know at the time was the money.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
So I went back to the tag agency and I didn't have any money.
oh man.
So I said, okay, let me go back and get some more money that I really don't have, but let me go back because I needed to register the car. So I went back to the store. And on the way in, I don't know why, but I did. I looked in the garbage can and there was the receipt. And right below the receipt, there was the money.
Oh my gosh. And no one else had taken it.
No. So again, so went back to the tag agency. But on the way to the tag agency, I passed a high school named Plantation High School. And their mascot is Colonel Pride.
Oh, bum bum bum.
Yes, I had to
Ah,
go in the trash to get the money to register the car. But I found the word pride. And as what will we not do? What will we not say to save our pride?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a lesson in itself. And it's like, okay, I'm not afraid to go in the trash.
No, not to get your money, especially when you really don't have that much to begin with. Wow.
But I, again, if I didn't go through those challenges, I would not be here. I wouldn't be in appreciation. I am in so much appreciation of being here. One, because I'm here. Two, my son is here. I have to tell you this weird story, and disagree or not, this is my story. When I was pregnant with my son, and I had my son very late in life, it went to the neonatologist and they give you the story, the DNA breakdown. And the DNA breakdown was that, okay, your child will not be able to speak. He won't be able to walk. He won't have any human functions. So that's where you are. And my choice was, and my girlfriend, we went to high school together. We lived 3 blocks from each other. We were pregnant at the same time and have the same friends. We were going to have the baby shower together. But when she told me that, it's like, I don't want to have a baby shower. So I canceled my portion of the baby shower.
Hmm.
And I decided that I was not going to see the pregnancy through.
Mm-hmm.
That was my decision. Judge me not, doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was month 4 when the neonatologist told me that. For the next 3 months, the ex-husband and I went to every specialist that you could think of about what we can do to save the pregnancy. Because I really didn't want to have the child. I was older,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't necessarily want to go through that again.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that we were going to end the pregnancy. In Florida, because of the restrictions, we couldn't have an abortion here in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So we chose that we were going to have the procedure in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Started scheduling the appointment with the doctor, speaking with the nurse, making the arrangements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. New Year's Eve, 2003, going into 2004, I had an ear bubble that I couldn't pop. And it was for 3 or 4 days. I couldn't pop it. It was just this center of my chest, this little, it felt like you wanted to burp, but you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that, and it was just, I couldn't sleep. So starting New Year's Eve, because I had dinner with my friend and her husband, me and the ex-husband. And New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, just uncomfortable. January 6, 2004, I had an appointment with my gynecologist, went into his office. No, first I should say, I went to work at 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep.
Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe that'll help.
Maybe it will. So I went into work at 3 o'clock, and I just couldn't sleep. I went to my appointment with him at 8 o'clock. I love early appointments because I hated to wait. So I went in, his medical assistant came in, she took my blood pressure. She excused herself. He came back a couple minutes later. He took my blood pressure. Then he took it again a third time.
Hmm.
So, and he says, Heather, can you do me a favor? And I'm like, okay, what's the favor? He says, I want you to go to the hospital. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to get in your car and go. Don't stop at the store. Don't go to work. Don't go to the bank. Just go to the hospital. Promise me, swear to me, you'll do that.
Hmm.
Okay, fine. I promise, I swear, I'll just go straight to the hospital. And so I went to the hospital, and number one thing in life, I'm waited.
Yes.
So I'm there from 9 o'clock.
Well, what did you tell them you were there for?
Well, I told them that my doctor wanted me to come. He said he was going to call and let them know.
Okay.
So when I got there, I told them that, hey, he wanted me to check in with you guys and to be here. And they said, okay, have a seat. And I was waiting and waiting. And I had this stupid ear bubble I couldn't pop. I'm hungry. I go to lunch.
Because you're hungry.
Hungry you eat. So I go to lunch, and I come back about 2, and they're upset with me because they couldn't find me.
Yes.
And, so they triage me. And not even on television have I seen people move as quickly. I was in a room. I was hooked up to more machines than I've ever seen in my life, except don't know. And he comes in and says, you're having the baby tonight.
Whoa.
And, so I called the ex-husband and I said, doctor says I'm having the baby tonight. And he goes through a litany of vocabulary that you don't want to hear.
I'll bet. We'll just pretend.
Yeah. So, and he says, but there's one challenge. I'm B positive blood. They don't have it in the hospital, so they have to wait.
Mm.
Okay, so they finally get the blood, and I'm going into surgery. And I remember the last thing I said to the ex-husband is, "Don't let me die." That was my quote to him. And that was the last I knew for the next 7 days. So that was January 6th. January 13th was really when I became aware of what happened and what was happening.
Ooh.
In a sense, because they did the emergency C-section. Like I said, I went to the ICU, he went to the NICU.
Okay.
And so I had the baby. He was 2 months premature.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up with eclampsia with help and story.
Right. Right.
So that's how he became. But what I wanted to tell you about the story in making the arrangements to go to Missouri is some years later, I'm watching the news and there was the murder of a doctor in church.
Mm-hmm.
And when they said the name of the doctor, it's like, oh my God, that was the doctor I was supposed to see in Kansas City.
Oh my goodness.
His name was George Tiller.
Oh.
And he was murdered in church by a pro-abortionist or pro-life advocate because they said he was doing the work of the devil and whatever it was.
Right. Right. Mm.
But his story and his death sticks with me because it resonates, because the thing, and they some would say, well, see, that's why you should never. It was my decision. It was my choice based on the information I knew at the time this was happening. I will say today, I am so ever grateful that he's here. My son is fine.
Mm. Oh, wow.
He can speak, he can walk, he can talk, he can hear all the things that the doctor said that he wouldn't be able to do, he does.
He's a miracle.
He's my miracle.
Yeah.
But I would still make the same decision today.
Right. Based on the information you were given.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. As I believe that there are several people that would have done the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my story. But what I would want to say about my story is never give up.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important thing that I learned through my process was to write things down. Doesn't matter how big or how bold, how unbelievable they are. When you write them down, I believe that the universe will conspire to make them happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as a passion test facilitator, there's one quote, the secret is, when faced with a choice, decision, or an opportunity, always choose in favor of your passion.
Yes.
And when you choose in favor of your passion, you're choosing from your heart and not your head, which is based on false beliefs, ideas, and concepts.
Mm-hmm.
But the heart is always right. And I've learned no longer to choose with my head, but to choose from my heart.
Wow. That's powerful. And that's with a P.
Yes.
That is powerful and profound.
Another P.
Another P. So Heather, where was it something just that was always a part of your life, or where did you really kind of find that you did have a passion for helping others?
Well, the HR piece was about helping others get where they want to go within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that wasn't really I learned that HR, while many people believe HR is for the employee, they're not. It's
Okay.
100% for the protection of the employer.
Uh-huh.
And so when I chose, when I realized that really wasn't the path that I wanted to take, and like I said, my mom had passed away. My mom passed away from Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay.
And what I realized after she passed was that I really wanted to be that individual that helped others to maintain their dignity and the lifestyle to the best of their capability while going through this unbelievable life's journey.
Yes.
So I started a second company.
Oh, which is or was?
Is the second company helps patients or families with memory challenges or
Mm,
people who've had stroke or to maintain the lifestyle that they had previously or prior to the diagnosis or to the situation, and to maintain that lifestyle.
wow.
So I help them, and with the life coach in peace, I could also help them navigate the mindset that they're thinking as they, not them, more the family member or the spouse, as they navigate this new path and this new journey. Because some of them have been married decades and that was their partner or is their
Mm,
partner. And they believe that they, as they get older and their finances increase, their resources increase, they would be able to do all of these activities. And now one of them cannot.
right. Yes.
And the amazing amount of guilt that comes with that
Mm-hmm.
or from that is amazing. So that's the second company in honor of my mom and what she went through and how I can help others navigate. And I still do the life coaching and the career piece for
Mm-hmm.
others, but I focus on women like me who may have had, don't know their path, or crushing end of a relationship, a career stop, some health challenges or financial issues, or the death of a loved one. That's my sweet spot. And those are the
Mm-hmm.
people that I work with most.
Well, what a beautiful tribute to your mom. And I don't know if it's because there is more research out there to identify people that have dementia or Alzheimer's, but it does seem like it has grown exponentially over the last decade. And I know myself right now, currently, I have five loved ones that are suffering from some form of dementia or Alzheimer's, and it's really tough. It is a tough thing to have. So to know that you have a program out there that can help families through this horrific, I don't know if it's a disease or what you would call it, but it's horrifying, and it's a very tough thing for anyone to go through, especially if you're the caretaker or a loved one who sees and knows what's happening, and to know that your loved one, they do know something's going on, and how frightened and scared they are. It's really tough.
Right.
So I mean, kudos to you for creating this. I mean, what a beautiful tribute to your mom.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's it.
Awesome. So Heather, what would you say is probably what you would consider to be the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
The best piece of advice came from a friend in the military,
Okay.
and his name was Mike. And Mike said to me, Heather, never settle. Whether it's one day, 1 month, 1 week, 1 year, whatever it is, there comes a day when you're going to say, I don't want that anymore. And the other person is going to say, but you used to like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten, was never settle. You know, you can find different opportunities to negotiate or compromise. But when you settle, it's like putting an or in the statement. It's this or.
Or, yeah.
And somebody feel like they have lost
Yeah.
on with the or. But when you put the and,
Mm-hmm.
everybody wins.
Wow. Yeah. That's a
And
positive twist.
yes, and that's how I feel. So therefore, the best thing you can do is always put the and. Here's a great example. I love you and you love me. There's no or in that statement.
Right. Right.
And
It's a win-win for both.
exactly. And whether it's an employer, employee, a partner to a partner, a brother to a sister, a parent to a child, you need the and in that statement and never an or.
Wow.
Because somebody's going to be upset and feel deprived.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great words of advice. I'm sure that you have had, and maybe even continue to have, people that what I call yuck your wow. You've come up with an idea what you want to do or something that you want to pursue, and somebody just kind of poo-poos it or whatever. When that happens, when someone yucks your wow, how do you respond to them?
Never believe them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when you believe them, you've lost.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever your yuck is, go for it, because that's what drives you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
my yuck was, people would say, you'd never make a living by doing a residential cleaning service. Well, I will say today, as I sit here, I make more money through my businesses than I did in HR.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the ex-husband was divorcing me, he said, when I married Heather, she was on her way to make 6 figures. Well, I didn't do that in HR, but I do that in my business.
Gosh, good for you. That is awesome. Yes, I love that. That is perfect. So right now, at this point in your life, what are you passionate about personally and professionally?
I am passionate about being my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I am passionate about helping others to find their extraordinary life and live it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I am passionate about the Eagles, the band, not the football team. And I am passionate about my son.
Excellent. Okay, now what would you say that right now at this point in your life, your purpose is personally and professionally?
Is helping others to live their extraordinary life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what would you say is your superpower?
My superpower is finding the patterns in the everyday things that we do.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And how is it that you're living your best life, or as I like to call it, living your best dash?
I get to choose every day my work, my clients, and I don't have any regrets from those choices.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wow.
I will tell you, I work hard, I work 7 days a week, but I am so happy when I come home at the end of the day that I would not have choose anything better or anything different.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Well, Heather, are there any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience?
Again, the final thought, words of wisdom is whenever you're faced with a choice, decision, or opportunity, choose in favor of your passion. Your heart is
Mhm.
always right. The head is full of false beliefs, ideas, and concepts.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Heather, for being my guest today. It has been a pleasure and a joy uh, to be with you. Pleasure being the main word because it's a P word. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I totally appreciate it.
So I know that there are going to be people that are watching on YouTube right now and listening on one of the podcast platforms that are thinking, I want to connect with this person and I want to get some of what she's got, that peace and that purpose and passion. So how can they connect with you?
I am at Roadmap Heather, whether it's through Gmail, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything is at Roadmap Heather.
Excellent. And those of you that have been following along with the podcast series, you know that in the description, the links to connect with Heather are going to be there. So if you didn't get that of what she just said, just go to the description. Her link is right there. Hit the link and it will give you direct access to her. Once again, it has been a pleasure to have you here, Heather, and I so appreciate you telling your story and finding all of what your passion and purpose is, because you are living your best dash, and that is motivational and inspirational. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great one.
All right, and for those of you out there listening, remember to subscribe and follow this podcast, and invite your friends and family to subscribe as well. And also, don't forget to go to my website, and that's at www.pathwayswithpatti.org. Sign up for a free Zoom chat with me, or you can also get my Pathway to a New Beginning roadmap. So until we meet again, continue to live your best dash and know that life's an adventure. And I want you to enjoy the journey because your life matters. Thank you for joining us today, and may God bless you all.